Welcome to the Divorce Diaries podcast, one man's anonymous and live account of if he should get a divorce or stay married. He's been cheated on and he's cheated, protecting the innocent with changed voice patterns, the omission of names, ages and genders. His authentic journey and account of the daily events of his marriage are helping him sort out his feelings and not get lost in the ups or the downs. New episodes are released daily. Welcome to the Divorce Diaries podcast. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
Well, today is really manifesting like a shit show. Today's going to be a little bit of diary entry today is going to be the toxicity that my farce of a marriage has produced and how it's really affected the children. I've alluded to the incident that happened that became really toxic between my wife and I. And the kids came privy to that, and then my youngest just told the oldest the situation, and that didn't go over well. He wasn't happy to hear that another toxic event happened with me and their mom. Wasn't happy at all, and I totally understand it. Even though it was months ago for everyone and months ago for us, our little one is trying to sort it out, and she reached out to her oldest sibling, and at my request, I wanted them to speak because I wanted them to get back together and wanted them to stay a unit. But we're a very, very, very toxic family, and like I said, I hadn't known why. Fully why. I know that I'm a cause of the toxicity, but I could never really wrap my head around everything and every way that we were toxic. Couldn't really do that. And yeah. But now I can. So I just want to take the time now to calm down and not record one of my old Divorce Diaries rants where I just did a lot of finger pointing and blaming and toxicity toward my wife. I don't want to do that. In this diary entry, I will be factual as I record things. The event that happened, let me see if I can create a different scenario. A scenario, let's say a parent, when they were 12 years old, one of the parents stole some candy from a drugstore. And then they developed a habit, and they stole more candy from that drugstore, and they continued to do petty theft, went unchecked, they were not caught for years. The parent is now, let's say, 30 years old. And the kid, there's two kids. One kid saw the parent take something while they were at Walmart, took something, stuffed it in their pocket, and that kid talked to the parent, "Hey, you stole that." "Oh, you're right, I did." Instead of parent going to the customer service counter and saying, "Hey, I put this in my pocket," or something like that, "I just want to pay for this to make sure that their kid doesn't go down that same path," the parent just says, "It doesn't matter, they've got plenty and it'll be okay." Kid internalizes that and kind of has a mental note now, oh, mom or dad, whoever the parent is, they steal things, they take things. So Um, so with that said, um, younger kid, sorry, I'm having some thoughts because I'm thinking about a situation I have to solve tonight. Some thoughts. Um, the kid has a younger sibling, and the younger sibling sees that older kid goes back and talks to the parent. Hey, parent, this thing, that thing. Um, Parent, this thing, that thing. You shouldn't do that. Can't believe it. How long have you been stealing? And parent gets really honest with kid. Parent says, look, I've been taking things since I was younger. Nobody ever told me no. I don't know any better. Parent is now, in the kid's mind, a thief. Kid loves parent. Kid is struggling with parents' things. What's going on here? Blah, blah, blah. Younger sibling comes up, takes something, or parent sees parent take something and tells sibling, hey, what the heck? I just saw a parent take something. We've got to do something about this. We're siblings. We're on the same team. We got to do something about this. Sibling says, actually, parent has been stealing since they were this age. They've always been a thief. They blah, blah, blah. Steal everything. Have been all the time. Young kid now is just like their whole world is turned upside down. My parent is a thief, and they have always been a thief. They will always be a thief. I'm not even going to listen to them when they tell me to eat my vegetables anymore because they are dead wrong. They are a thief. That's where we are now. In a very tame way that I'm saying things, we're in a really tough spot now. And I think our family's permanently broken. Because I can say right now, as I'm recording this, I'm not in a place. One, I'm doing so much work on myself in trying to get the toxicity out of myself. I'm probably trying to even recognize where I'm so toxic still with my therapist so that we can figure out things to purge it, I guess, and get it out or deal with it. Process it is probably the right word. And that's going to be a long haul. That's going to be the rest of my life. Traumas are deep and dark, and that's what I have in me. And I need to sort them, and at least, I know that I'm nowhere on the narcissistic DSM-5 measuring chart. I kind of brush against 3 of the types, like brush. I'm not really spot on anything but maybe 1, but there are 9 total types, and you need to be like spot on with 5 of them to actually be classified a narcissist or have narcissistic personality disorder, or I don't have any of that, no bipolar or anything like that. I just have baggage, dirt, damage that has affected me, and I need to figure it out like most people do. But there are plenty of people that also do have narcissistic personality disorder. I'm not one of them, according to the diagnoses. So yeah, my life's a total shit show, and for my kids, it's a total shit show. And what happened with the incident with my wife and I, the troubling thing was the kids didn't necessarily have to know. Just like that older kid didn't have to tell the younger kid that the parent was a thief and had been for their entire life, because while honesty is always very good, I was just listening to the Jordan Harbinger podcast where he was running a rerun. It's the second time I've heard it, where he had the former head of the NSA and CIA, General Michael Hayden, and he talked about truth and liberty, or liberty and freedom, or liberty and knowledge, or something like that, and how sometimes when you tell certain people certain things, certain groups certain things, certain countries certain things, or citizenry certain things, you can be fully honest, but that full honesty may come with a price. There's a timing element there that may come with a price. There's lots of things that may come with a price. So it's just a very rough situation that everyone's in. And honestly, it didn't have to happen. A lot of this stuff that's happening with our family, it just didn't have to happen. And being lectured, the tongue lashing that I just got from my oldest just now because of the trauma that, they just learned about literally yesterday. And he's reeling from it. He's reeling, and he should be. It shouldn't have happened. It was a very bad thing that happened. But also the way that it was presented wasn't really true. Like, there was an example when I was with my youngest and we were picking up something. And as we're sitting in the parking lot, we're in a strip mall in front of all these stores. And we were just talking about how things aren't always what they seem. And with things not being what they seem, I said, hey, imagine a man came out of that store right there. A man came out of that store and he's holding his gun and he's saying, I've been shot. I've been shot. And he pulls his hands away from his stomach to reveal the blood-stained shirt that he has. And he's screaming, I've been shot. I've been shot. And he falls down dead right in the middle of the parking lot, right in front of our car where we're sitting. And I said, man, it's a tragedy. What do you think? And she's like, yeah, it is a tragedy. That should have never happened to that guy. It's so sad. I said, yeah, it is. It's all those things. I said, now what if, because we were witnesses, we had to stay here and wait for the police to come. And while we're being questioned, we find the knowledge. Granted, I kind of skipped over some things as if regular people would be involved in an investigation and it would go as fast as an episode of Law & Order SVU, and we, the witnesses, would also see the crime footage. But I said, well, what if we found out that on the crime footage, the guy that came out and died in the middle of the street, he actually busted in the back with a gun, held it up at the clerk. Someone else came out. He decided to put the gun on them. That gave the clerk enough time to grab another gun. He spins around. He's going to shoot the clerk. The clerk shoots him. And then he staggers out. And then we see the rest. I said, now how do you feel about that guy being dead in front of the car? And she's like, ooh. And that's different. I said, yeah, new information changes things, right? She's like, yeah, new information changes things. So I remember when the event happened with my wife and I understand what's been communicated to other people. It's like, wow, okay. That's what's been communicated. You think that the person just came out and they died in the middle of the street because they were shot. Now you found out that they were actually the robber. And then there was a attempted murder and then a self-defense gunshot that resulted in the robber dying. Hey, that's very different than the robber was murdered, isn't it? So I say that to say maybe there are not necessarily any villains. You can't just knight them. You're a villain. But what you can do is know that you weren't there. You weren't there at all. And you don't know what happened. Just remember that and try to stay calm and try to never, ever, ever put yourself in a position where something like this would ever happen.
Wow. That was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The daily saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.